Breaking news, everybody. Here's the most important stimulus check information that you want to know. Be sure to stay tuned in this video to find out the most important stimulus news.
Didn't reach the agreement without some obstacles earlier in the day. Republicans in the House and the Senate made an effort to delay passage of the spending bill over objections to the Biden administration's COVID-19 vaccination mandates for larger companies. Here's what Speaker Nancy Pelosi had to say about those attempts.
We all have a responsibility to make sure that the government functions. I don't think that the Republicans in the Senate want to shut down government. I don't know that they would even have the votes to do so. But it is, yet again, a double sense of irresponsibility. First of all, they'd shut down government.
Before I start, I'd like to report that later today I'll be signing a bill funding the government operations for the next few months. Funding the government isn't a great achievement. It's a bare minimum of what we need to get done. But in these times, a bipartisan cooperation is worth recognition. So I want to thank Senators Schumer and McConnell and Speaker Pelosi for getting this done. And I want to thank a substantial bipartisan vote in the Senate for sending this bill to my desk today to avoid disruptions of government operations. And I want to urge Congress to use the time this bill provides to work toward a bipartisan agreement on a full-year funding bill that makes the needed investments in our economy and our people, from public health to education to national security. Now, for today's news. Every year, December brings the joys of the holiday season and gives us an opportunity to reflect on the year gone by and look ahead and begin to imagine the new year to come. This year, we can reflect on an extraordinary bit of progress. Our economy is markedly stronger than it was a year ago, and today, the incredible news that our unemployment rate has fallen to 4.2%. At this point in the year, we're looking at the sharpest one-year decline in unemployment ever. Simply put, America's back to work, and our jobs recovery is going very strong. Today's historic drop in unemployment rate includes dramatic improvements for workers who have often seen higher wages and higher levels of unemployment. They are receiving higher wages. And the rate of Black and Hispanic unemployment is also dropping sharply. But that's not just jobs that are up. Wages are up, especially for hardworking Americans, often ignored in past recoveries. Workers in transportation and warehouses have seen their wages go up approximately 10% this year. Workers in hotels and restaurants have seen their wages go up 13% this year. And thanks to the American Rescue Plan, we've delivered significant tax cuts to families raising children. Tax cuts and raising wages for middle-class families mean that Americans, on average, have more in their pockets today than they did each month since we've been in office, than they did last year after accounting for inflation. Let me repeat that. Even after accounting for rising prices, the typical American family has more money in their pockets than they did last year. In fact, we're the only leading economy in the world where household income and the economy as a whole are stronger than they were before the pandemic. Applications for new small businesses are up 30% compared to before the pandemic. Thanks to the American Rescue Plan, we're cutting child poverty in America by more than 40%. And millions of children who spent last Christmas in poverty will not bear that burden this holiday season. Today's news means that unemployment rate has now fallen by more than 2 percentage points since I took office. That's the fastest decline in a single year on record. And it's about 3 times faster than any other president in their first year in office. The number of people claiming unemployment has fallen from 18 million when I took office to 2 million this week, another record drop. We've also learned today that in November, 235,000 jobs were created in the private sector. And when they went back and recalibrated, they found the last 2 months, they found that job growth over the prior 2 months, September and October, actually created 82,000 more jobs than had previously been reported. Which means that we've averaged nearly 400,000 new jobs a month over the last 3 months, a solid pace. All told, in the first 10 full months of my administration, The economy has created 6 million jobs, a record for a new president. This is a significant improvement from when I took office in January, a sign that we're on the right track. Because of the extraordinary strides we've made, we can look forward to a brighter, happier new year ahead, in my view. But I also know that despite this progress, families are...
First of all, everybody, here's the most important Social Security news. Social Security recipients may be shocked by the new average monthly benefit that's coming next month. Families may be eligible to receive an additional $1,800, thanks to Biden. The average Social Security benefit is going up in 2022, and that's the good news. The bad news is that it's still lower than many people anticipate, and is still not nearly enough to live on. Many of you are also concerned about how much a typical retiree will receive in Social Security benefits next year. Well, in 2022, the average Social Security benefit for a retiree will be around $1,700 every single month. This is up from around $1,565 in 2021 and earlier this year. The big increase in average benefit is driven by the fact that Social Security recipients will have a 5.9% cost of living adjustment in 2022. So while it's good news that the average benefit is going up next year, the stark reality is that it's still not enough to live on. Social Security, everybody, is supposed to be one of the several support sources. It's meant to replace 40% of pre-retirement income, with the rest of the funds a retiree acquires coming from these other sources. So if you're concerned about how low the average Social Security benefit is, there are a few steps you can take to actually get a monthly check higher than usual. The options available to do that will depend on how early in your career you start working, and how early you work towards raising your Social Security checks. The best way to beat the average benefit is to earn an above average income for as long as possible. Social Security benefits equal a percentage of inflation adjusted income in the 35 years that you earn the most. The more years you work at a higher salary, the higher your benefits will be. But a bill was recently proposed by lawmakers in Congress that would keep Social Security benefits out of poverty. Beneficiaries out of poverty. The proposal is called the Social Security Enhancement and Protection Act. It was put forward by Gwen Moore. And first, it would update what is called the special minimum benefit to 100% of the current poverty level. This would apply to individuals who have paid into Social Security for at least 30 years and claim benefits when they reach full retirement age. The bill also proposes increasing monthly checks for all beneficiaries by 5% once they have been retired for 20 years. That increase will be gradually phased in starting when beneficiaries have reached 16 years of eligibility. So folks, if you've been receiving child tax credits since July, be aware that the December payments will be the last that you'll receive until you file your 2022 tax returns. Thank you again for your support, everybody. If you have any more questions about the fourth stimulus payments, be sure to leave them in the comments below.